Zoom. Okay, everyone, let me get back to our first slide. Okay, everyone, thank you again for joining us for the final. Just real quick, Francesca, your things are coming off of mute, and we could hear a lot of your background noise. So if you could mute yourself, please. Thank you very much. All right. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is the final session of the Know Yourself series. Thank you for everyone for logging on this afternoon. This should be a great series. I'm not going to keep us waiting any longer. So let me introduce to everyone the host, your host, our scholar, our queen mother, the person who has been sharing all of her knowledge and wisdom to us who are the next generation, so that we may take the baton and run it, to where we have to go and pass along that knowledge to our next generation, so that they may be fit and they may be armed to face the issues of tomorrow. So someone to have a tremendous amount of respect for, my mother, my second mother, my spiritual mother, the Queen Mother, Bayyinah Bello.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Franz. A very strong soldier in the fight who has taken up a lot, Franz, who is being around Bayyinah and assuming what she says and does is not easy. But he has taken it with a lot of grace. And I thank you. And I'm very proud of you. Greetings to all. Greetings to all of you, female, male, men, women, in the fight. Whether you know it or not, we are in the fight. And the sooner we assume that responsibility, the sooner we face up these facts, then the better we can prepare ourselves for victory. So we have seen so far, no, before I go that way, Franz was saying how we're doing this work so we can prepare the next generation so they can be properly tooled and armed to define tomorrow. That's where we have to go. It's not face tomorrow. We have been facing it and submitting to other people's definition of tomorrow. That is over. Now it is time for us to tool our children, armed our children, so they can define tomorrow. The only way we can have a better tomorrow is for us to define it for ourselves. And that's the real fight. That's where we stand today. That's what we have to do. That's what we have to take the responsibility for. Defining, not submitting to. Not repeating what others say. Defining what we want, how we want it for our children, for our grandchildren, for our great-grandchildren. And in fact, as if it was planned, well, it was planned, but not by us anyway. It so happened that next week, no, not next week, 2 days from now, on Thursday, I will be receiving 2 young women from the next generation. And young women who are active, who are doing all kinds of wonderful things. That is Christelle Alma, who is a young woman who has published several books for children. And I will be receiving Dr. Amira Anakauna Bello. 2 young women who have a lot on their plates. They're both mothers of Anakaona has 3. I believe Christelle also has 3. Oh, they have more in common than all of this we didn't plan, but it's that way. So both of them Haitian women. Both of them have lived abroad, and sometimes in IT, and sometimes. Christelle has returned home and is working hard and doing a lot of things. So we are very happy that on Thursday, we will have the next generation coming up with what they are doing. Anakaona will be presenting her program on how to make our children comfortable with math. How from a very young age, and she has done it with her own children. She has twin girls who've been adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing before they were 4. And she works hard at it. She continuously works, but it's fun for the girls. The girls don't see it as work because she has a very interesting methodology to do this work with them. So that will be what we'll be doing on Thursday. So today, we are looking at ourselves. Let's begin today. As you can see, I've changed my environment. I am here in the yard. A calabash tree is there, a mango tree here, another mango tree, and an oak tree. And behind me, lots and lots of greens. And because we're going to do a little bit of exercise today, we're gonna do some breathing. That's the first element of power. That's the first way we communicate to the divine in us. They do it for us all the time, what we call automatic breathing. As I explained it the first session, when you let it be automatic, your lungs only do a little movement like that. But if you work at it, you can make your lungs do this. And that's what we're gonna work at for a couple minutes right now. Oxygen does make everything else work. Circulation, thoughts, etc., etc. The lack of oxygen is a lot of disease. Developing a better rapport with the oxygen in your body guarantees you better health. So let's take a couple minutes, a few seconds. Sit up straight, vertebrae straight, and we're going to breathe very, very deeply. Very slowly, very deeply. So we can really get all of our brain power activated so we can grab even more from today's session. So let's go. Breathe in, 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 hold, breathe out, 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 out. Again, breathe in, 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 breathe out, out, out. Make it so when you're breathing out, tighten your fist, tighten every muscle in your body that you can tighten so you will reject all the stuff that you have already used. So you're sending it back out into the world because the universe feeds us and we feed the universe as well with our breathing. So let's do one last one. Make the effort. Breathe in, in, in. Hold, breathe out, out, out. Thank you. Now we can continue with our work. That's part of the work. That's something we should train ourselves to do every morning, every night, to take the time to breathe, not always have it only on automatic. That's part of being the master of your world. You control your breathing. You control what you put in your mouth. And you control what comes out of your mouth. Those three elements of control make us stronger. We choose when to get angry. We don't get angry. We choose when to ignore, no matter what it is that came in front of us. We decide when and how things happen in our environment. And that will be when we have that kind of control of our own body, then we'll be in touch with the divine in us. So what is the divine? Is it some big something out there up in the sky that frightens us sometimes, or, you know, we have to be afraid of it? Because if you don't do this, God is gonna strike you. Is that the way we conceive it? Is that the way we see it? Huh. Bergason said, that's not it at all. That's what Bergason just told us. Okay. The divine lives in every living thing. It doesn't have to go out and get anyone. Okay. And the divine has established the principles of life. And as we learn the principles of life and apply them in our lives, then we are in tune with the divine. The divine doesn't have to come back to punish this one or reward that one. The reward and the punishment are right into your actions. As you do it, so you'll see it. Okay. All right. I'm so selfish. I say, I don't want to breathe that carbon dioxide sent to the plants. I just want to grab oxygen from the plants all the time. So let's see how I can do this. My reward, my punishment is right into my action. I eat too much of this, I will be going to the doctor for whatever. I drank too much of that, the consequences will be right there within my action. The divine don't have to ever look at me again. Okay? Now, I need to work on me. Once I establish, I take control, I know who, I work on myself, I have control over myself. Yeah, just because Kwesi give me a strike me, I'm not gonna grab something and throw at him. No, I'm gonna take the blow. I'm gonna study Kwesi. I'm gonna figure out why did he do this? And I will come out with the proper response. Not some spontaneous growl, fight, and argument. No. I must be in control of my life. I choose when I'm fighting, and I will fight when I planned it the week before. I said, I know I'm gonna meet with Kwesi. I know that Kwesi always does this, that, and the other. And when he does that, I will do this. I have a plan. But if I didn't know anything and Kwesi just happened to come and then hit me, I'll take my blow and I'll go study things and figure out the proper response. Because I'm in control. Somebody else looking at it might say, oh, Bayyinah is afraid of Kwesi. Yeah, that's their mouth. They're free to say what they want. But I know what I have to do. Okay? So, no control, no contact with the divine. No control, no capacity to define tomorrow. No control, you can't even control your immediate environment. Because people who are observing you know every time they say this word, you get all beside yourself, you get angry, you blah, blah. So anytime they want to put you in that mood, they just come up and say, oh, blue. Blue is the word. And Franz go all out of himself. No, you're not supposed to say things like this. So the person who said blue has control over Franz. Because they notice every time you say blue, here's how he goes. So you must be yourself. In order for you to be yourself, you have to know yourself. And when you know yourself, you determine what's going to happen in your life. What part of it you're going to control, what part of it you're going to, sometimes you do, how do they say that in English? When you're not swimming, you just let your body on the water.
Float.
What is it called?
Treading on a float.
Float, yes, floating, treading, whatever. Yes, okay? You're not swimming. There are times you decide to swim, but other times you just give your body to the water and let it take you wherever. That too is important, but it's because you decided that's what you were going to do. Not because you can't do nothing else or you so happen to be there. Okay? So let's take control of our individual lives. When we have control, then we can come together. And our togetherness then becomes power. Because I have control over Bayyinah, Kwesi has control over Kwesi, Franz has control over Franz. So when we say we're meeting tomorrow at 5, then everybody will be there. When we say you're gonna go get the water, he's gonna go get the fire, she's gonna go get the earth, it will be done because each has control over its own world. And when we give ourselves this practice of being in charge of our lives, then the divine is very present in everything that we do. Because once we do that, that means we spend time studying ourselves, time studying the unseen in us, time communicating to the unseen in us. So the more we do, the greater we develop the power of the divine in everything we do. When looking into Ancestry, there is one speech of Dessalines that I love a lot. Dessalines said, 1802, he said, the war that we're into is a war for freedom. The entire universe will participate in it. At some point, Mother Nature will bring rain. The rain will bring yellow fever. The yellow fever will diminish the number of French soldiers that are across from us. And ultimately, we will win. The man has the entire universe involved in the fight. It's not something he's doing. He doesn't say, I don't see him anywhere saying, me, Dessalines, I've decided. I find continuously he called on nature. He called and defined nature's participation and what is going on. He doesn't go out like that. And closer to us, another Ogu personality, Fidel Castro, did almost the same, but something very similar. There was a threat. The whole world, the medias had announced that there was Hurricane Ivan, I think it was. Hurricane Ivan was going to crush Cuba. The eye of the hurricane is on Havana. Havana will disappear. 95% of it will be destroyed. Blah, 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 blah. We heard all about that. And then a couple of days before the hurricane struck, Castro went on television and spoke to his people. And he said, well, you know, a hurricane is a natural that's part of nature. So there always were, and there will be more. And it is possible that it might come to Cuba, and it may do some damage. After we will heal our wounded, we will count and bury our dead. But we, Cuban people, we are very disciplined people. So we are going to take every precaution that we know of. We're going to board the glass windows. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We all know what to do, and each will do what he has to do. But you, hurricane, let me tell you something. The Cuban people work very hard. They don't need no disruption right now. There are some people who are constantly disrupting others. Why don't you go visit them instead? The next day, newspapers are saying, well, he's totally crazy. Now he's talking to a hurricane. But you know what happened? Some of you might be young enough to remember. Well, the hurricane showed up over Cuba, looked at Havana and said, hey, I don't want to come to Havana, and made a turn and went to some other places. Havana was not 95% destroyed. That power is in you who's looking at me. You can do it. You can speak to the rain, you can speak to the wind, you can speak to the fire. We each have the divine in us, and we have that power, but we have not been educated to use it. Practice makes perfect. How many times did you speak to the rain before? How many times did you speak to the wind? If you don't practice, you don't get to be good at it. Don't wait until you're in panic mode to do it. Whenever there's a little rain out there, go out, look at the rain, speak to the rain. Develop your communication with the rain. Then when there's a big hurricane, you will be in a better position to tell the hurricane, leave your house alone. You can go someplace else. But you have to do it on a continuous basis. That's the best way. Okay. So we have looked so far, the first session, we looked at the ability to question ourselves. Questioning, starting with self. Gotta question self first. Then you go and question other things. But the first step, questioning. Yes. And you see that this is a collaboration. This is Kwesi's presentation of the map, which is excellent. Okay. So number 0, continuous conscious questioning. That's that's step 1. Before step 1, 0. If you don't start there, you can't do this. And you can see this is an upward movement. You're learning to know yourself. You're rising into the knowledge of self. If you don't ask any questions, then you will not develop any courage. And directly across from courage, we have cowardice. We have submission. We have illusion. We have begging. Begging is that you're constantly waiting for somebody else to find a solution to whatever problem you have. Okay? You decided you're going out with this young man. You don't tell any of us about it. That's your personal business. We have no business in it. But then when you become pregnant and this young man don't answer the phone anymore, you come to us and you want us to tell you what to do. But you didn't ask us what to do when you started going out with him. See? So you come to us begging for the solution of the problem you created all by yourself. Got to be careful about that. We don't pose any action. We are forever into reaction mode. People know exactly how to make us do. All they have to do is say this word. And everybody, and half the times you will be the victim of your own reactions. When it comes to doing anything, to setting things up, you are all about appearances. You just want to do this. Why do you want to do it? Well, so people will see, so people will know. I want to be famous so people know me. That's not that's not even an objective. You want to do something first because that's something that's in you. I want to sing. I feel inside of me songs coming up that could heal the world. So I want to sing. That's an excellent objective. But so they will see me, so they will know me, so what? And with the see me, with the know me, lots of problem comes in. You don't anticipate them, but they come to you. You attract a lot of things that you don't need. Okay? So let's be for real and get to the core of ourselves, our divine self, and set up objectives that serve the collective good. Okay? Yeah, I want to teach because I want all of our people to know. I want to dance because dance is good for blah, 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 blah. And when people are looking at you dancing, it calms their nerve, it brings them to a better self, and da, da, da. Yes, those are excellent reasons for doing whatever you do. Okay? Always keep in mind, there is continuous need, there's often need for individual sacrifices to bring in the collective victory. Individual sacrifices to bring in collective victory. If I go back to the revolution of Haiti, there were situations where in certain battles, there was a ravine, for example. Well, nobody ordered no one to drop themselves in the ravine. But some soldiers just looked at the situation and they saw there was no way for us to win unless we could instantly create a way for us to go across. So they start dropping themselves, one on top of the other, several on top of each other, until it was leveled and our people march on. Those who were on horses rode on. Those who were with donkeys rode on. And the battle was won. Because of all these nameless people who sacrificed themselves so things would continue. And in situations like that, generally, our generals would never tell a soldier, kill yourself. No. But the soldier who understands what has to be done will go ahead and bring himself up so that the others would. The women, many women, and during the war, mothers with babies would go on the battlefield And often the women's task was to dismantle the cannon. The only way to dismantle the cannon is to stuff something in the cannon's mouth. Well, some women would go up to the cannon, and when they couldn't find anything to dismantle it, they would grab their only child, their little baby, their 1-month-old baby, their 2 months old, and they'll stuff it into the cannon and save the lives of the hundreds that were there. So, individual sacrifices are necessary for collective victory. When you hear that a people has won a war, ask yourself, how many individuals have sacrificed themselves in order for this victory to come to the population? I'll give another example close to us. During the war between Kuwait and Iraq, when Iraq invaded Kuwait. So before that, I have to tell you that women in Kuwait have absolutely no rights whatsoever. You could go abroad, study, come back with 10 PhDs in mechanics, engineering, whatever, whatever. As a woman, you will not be allowed to work in the fields that you've studied. Women don't even have the right to drive a car, even if you know how to drive, and if you have licenses from 10 different countries. But when you come back to Kuwait, you're not allowed to. So they were living into this situation when the country was attacked. Well, many women went on and learned how to use weapons, got themselves armed, started to defend their country and fought. While the emir of Kuwait, the head of state, ran away to be safe in the United States. But the women and men of the country stayed and fought. And after they won the war, the emir came back to the country. And the first decision he took is to hang every woman who had been raped during the war and were pregnant, because he will have no bastard being born in his country. Of course, the New York Times wouldn't put that on first page, because Kuwait has too much oil and too much wealth. If it was in Haiti, everybody would have known about that. But that's the way this world goes. And in order for this world to become different, you have to become different. You have to have a different mindset. You have to embody and live the Ma'at. Live in equilibrium with the world, not just other people. Gotta be fair all the way, every time, with every life form. Remember, practice makes perfect. So if I can be fair to people and I'm unjust to animals, or I'm unjust to plants, I'm unjust to the soil, to land, to fire, I'm not yet into the Ma'at. Because to enter the Ma'at, to live by Ma'atan law, you must be just all the time, everywhere, with every life form. Yes. See, we have Ma'at, Heteru, Auset, Seker. All of it is in you. But do you, when you read about them, do you see as they are there and you are here? The Hindus have a saying that I use a lot, that I love a lot. Om Hamsa Soham Sva. I am you and you are me. If I look at my rooster, I say, I am you and you are me. I look at my tree, I am you and you are me. If I'm walking up a mountain and I'm losing my breath, I'm getting tired, then I tell the mountain, I am you and you are me. And I find the energy to continue to climb up. I don't have to sit. I don't have to stop. Because once you can be one with whatever, wherever you are, then that and you are one, then you cannot hurt it. It cannot hurt you. Om Hamsa Soham Sva. I am you, you are me. Moi c'est ou c'est moi. Je suis toi, tu es moi. Say it in any language you want. But always try to recognize the creation is one. This morning, no, not true, was day before yesterday morning. I take my purple onion and garlic on a regular basis. And sometimes, you know, often you leave 7 days before you take it again. And every time you're starting again, it's not very pleasant when you're gonna chew on raw onion and garlic. Well, I found the easiest way to find it tasty is to remember I am an onion, and I know Kwesi thinks I'm the best onion in the world. I'm the tastiest onion in the world. Therefore, that onion will taste good too. Once I look at it different, I see it's me again. The garlic, that's me. And everything that we come in contact is part of us. And if we were to study a human being, there is nothing that exists in this universe that you would not find inside of us. We are a universe. There is gold, there is water, there is electricity, there is cobalt, whatever it is, it's there. So what attitude will we have between this thing and us? Okay. When we look at our history, if we take the past 20,000 years, we look at Ethiopia, we look at what is today called Egypt, we look at all our older civilizations, we find that there was no such concept as saying that this people was no good, that such and such people were devil. No, we always know there is diversity in the world, and everything has its own identity. Even if it's me, it's a different me. And if I look at it that way, then I will learn from all the various me's that I will meet in my life, and I will grow. But when I start with prejudice, oh no, this is no good, this is a bad plant, this is a bad people, this is a bad culture. If everything we look at, we see it as no good, who are we? Who are we? Are we any good if everyone we judge them no good? No. So, if you leave this session with only one sentence, remember we say, no matter how long someone speaks, try to pick up your sentence. That which is your tool to step up to the next level. Every time you listen to someone, that's what you're looking for. That's what you want to find. That one thing that will help you step up into your divine self. So, we know questioning is important. It helps us to build courage. We know with courage, we earn the right to speak. And we also know Speaking is expressing our own convictions, not repeating other people's words. When we don't know what a word means, we don't want to repeat that word. And when we search and find out what it means, if we find it unfitting, then we are duty bound to create our own and not continue to repeat what you know or feel is incorrect. The power is in you. Naming is a power. Why is it if we look at different cultures, this culture, for example, the Sudan, you only wear all your life, all children wear their parents' name, your father's name. So even if you marry someone, you do not take the husband's name. You keep your father's name. That's your name. So what they do in certain African traditions and cultures, they will say, for example, Bayyinah Bello marries Paul Louverture. Then she is Bayyinah Bello, wife of Paul Louverture. But she does not become Bayyinah Bello Louverture. And she certainly doesn't become Bayyinah Louverture. No, she remains Bayyinah Bello. She's the wife of Louverture. And we saw that when we look at Empress Félicité, when she wrote her name on her coffin, she wrote her full name, Marie-Claire Heureuse Félicité Bonheur. That's the name she had before she married anyone. And then underneath she put widow of Jean-Jacques Dessalines. See? So she's in that tradition. You keep your father's name. You do not take on other people. And name has a lot. There's a lot for us we should learn a lot about name and naming. As I said, it is a power. That's why parents can name their children. It is a power we have. And one of the ways that others impose their powers on other people is, remember, when these people were doing their Euro-Christian slavery, the first thing they did when they grabbed one of us is impose one of their names on us. If you can still keep your name, then you're not totally at their mercy. Okay? But when they can even change your name, they'll change your name, they'll change whatever, they'll change your face too. They don't like your nose, cut it off. They don't like your ears, cut it off. Total power over you. Okay? Name is one of the powers. And we noticed that even though everybody was happy in the 60s, many African countries became independent. But how many African countries removed the colonized name and took on their own name? Think on that. It's about power. Naming is power.
Shit.
So, shall we start our, we finish with a monologue, and let's get into more interesting session, the part where we can exchange, where all the divines in each one of you can gather together and make our session what it really should be. So each one, I hope to hear from many, many of you. Oh, nice. Let's try to be short. I will do my best to be short in my answers too. But let's try so a maximum of people have an opportunity to share with us. Francis, it's all yours.
All right, thank you so much, Ma. That was definitely great words coming from you. So, okay, everybody, here we go. So questions and answers. You know how we do it. You put the raise hand icon if you're on your phone, there should be like a 3 little dot icon. You push it, you should see raise hand, or if you're on your laptop, you should be able to see the raise hand icon somewhere. Just search around for it. It's there somewhere. So we're gonna go in order. So the first question comes from Jade Arundel. Jade Arundel, you could go ahead and unmute yourself. Thank you for joining. I think Jade has been on every session. I've seen that.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
hello, Mom.
Hi, how are you?
I'm blessed. Okay, so I just gathered that from what you said, prejudice is out of alignment with my eye. As a student of history and as a modern day revolutionary doing social justice work, I have a lot of prejudice, especially towards Europeans and white people. I also heard you say that we should see ourselves as one and practice oneness. What advice do you have for someone like me who's doing the good work for the victory of the people, but also keeping history and those patterns in mind in terms of our open enemies?
Excellent question. Thank you, Jade. Okay. Now, we're not in Lala world. We are in the world. Okay. Now, what is prejudice? Prejudice will come from prejudging. Okay. I have never met you. I don't know anything, but I've decided that every woman who has a hair coming down her face like that, these women, these are people that you cannot trust. They are this, they are this, they are that. That's prejudice. Okay. But if I've met you before, my mother met your mother, my grandmother met your grandmother, and you chopped their arms, you poked their eyes for no reason, you stole everything they had. So when I meet you, I'm not about prejudice. I know what kind of people you are. And I have to be prepared. In fact, I would be mad if I go and embrace you after knowing what you did to my mom, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother. Okay? Good sense demands that I be on my guard. Good sense demands that I be prepared to defend myself. Good sense demands that I don't walk up with eyes closed when I'm meeting you. And justice also demands. The world is about justice. So if your grandmama did wrong, your mama did wrong, you doing wrong, I am duty bound to do justice.
Awesome. Just like that.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, great question, Jade. All right, next question comes from Family First, Bookman MD. You could go ahead, unmute yourself, ask a question.
Greetings, love and respect, family.
Greetings, greetings.
We are responding to the question of who are you? Who are we? When we respond with prejudice to the world that we are experiencing, and what we know we are not is simply ma'at. So redirecting ourselves to practice those principles of truth, justice, righteousness, reciprocity, harmony, order, and balance, we can return to honoring our ancestors by practicing this divine program known as ma'at. Respect.
All right, brother. Did you have a specific question?
No, he had a comment.
It was a comment, a response to the question that was
stated. A
stated
proposal,
earlier.
absolutely. Yes, we're duty bound, and justice is part of it. Okay, but we must not be confused about what is prejudice and what is not. Okay, it's not, I don't like so-and-so because I don't know nothing about them, but I just dislike them. Okay, I know what history has taught me.
Yep.
Therefore, my behavior must be in conformity Justice in mind. Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Brother Peace. All right, let's see. Next question comes from Natasha Robert. Go ahead, unmute yourself, ask a question.
Hi, peace, and thank you, Mama Bello, for doing this for us. My question is, I know with my aunt that, you know, from what I know, that you want your heart to be lighter than a feather, you know, in terms of, you know, working through your, I mean, as light as a feather in terms of like, you know, balance and, you know, the way that you conduct yourself and hold yourself and work through things in this physical realm. But my question is, can your heart be lighter than a feather? And would that be like an indication of you maybe not really working through things, but maybe just like, I don't know, not doing anything or living like such a life of disconnection that your heart would be lighter than a feather?
I am not very sure. There was some, you know, the communication was not very clear. So I'm missing certain parts of what you said.
Oh, well, my question was, can your heart be lighter than the feather in terms of ma'at? Instead of it being as light as a feather, but can it be lighter than a feather in the end?
I do not know. I cannot respond to that question. I do not even know how the heart can be as light as a feather, so much less could I say whether it can be even lighter. I do not know that. But what I can share is that the concept of ma'at is that you are continuously doing your best. So in every word and every gesture, you try hard to balance things. So you're not taking one side against the other in situations. Okay, whether with your word, whether it's your thoughts even, you know, you might not say anything, but then you say, you know, well, this one is ugly, and you know, in your heart. So all of this is taken into consideration when they talk about the heart being as light as a feather. So my limited knowledge of that does not allow me to answer your question. But it's a very good question. And I think you should, since the question has come from you, the answer is somewhere in you. So you should pursue this idea, and hopefully down the road, you will share with us what you found.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, you can share your answer on Bayyinah and Friends on Thursday if you receive the answer that quickly. So thank you, Natasha. Appreciate your question.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Royal Sparkles. Alicia, go ahead and unmute and ask the question, please. Alicia, are you there?
Yes, I'm sorry. It was still muted. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Oh, ne, Franz, on ne, mami, qui j'en ai?
En forme, respect.
Merci. So my question real quick was, how do you find your true name? We've been, in my family, on my father's side of the family, there were 2 books written. A genealogist took interest and went back to the late 1600s. And even then was still the name of the oppressor. And I want so bad to know what our true name was. You have any recommendations on how to go about doing that?
Okay. Well, the work I did was, you know, yes, go back on the genealogy as far as you can.
Okay.
And you will start by finding groupments. For example, I knew that at some point the father of, let me see, 6th generation, Faustin Premier, and Faustin Premier's father was from Benin. So then when we traced Faustin, Faustin's father from Benin. Then we find out he took back, after independence, in our case, we were lucky. After independence, he took back his African name. So he became Maison Kwashi. He got rid of the Faustin. Not the Faustin is his son. He got rid of the name he had before, L'évêque. So he returned to Maison Kwashi. So then with Maison Kwashi, I went to Benin and then founded the Kwashi family. And what does that mean? And where is the village? And blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, but first you will find that, you know, you more easily will find this is a Yoruba family, or this is a, you know, you will regroup Igbo, or is whoever. And then all you need is one name, and one name can give you so much, especially since African names are so meaningful. See, by finding that we are the Kwashi family, Kwashi families, the Kwashis are lawyers and judges and people who are into that field. Now, my father is a lawyer and my mother's father is a lawyer. And there are so many lawyers in our family. In fact, that's what some people wanted me to be lawyers. They say, yeah, you can defend things, so you should be a lawyer. But I was never.
You would have been a great lawyer.
My brother is a lawyer. One of my sons is a lawyer. So the judge thing runs through, you know, it doesn't get broken in spite of 400 years in slavery. And that's what is so great and so powerful about, you know, and that's precisely because the divine is in there protecting all that is vital for us. So one thing is for sure, if you search, there is no way for you not to find. Just don't let yourself be discouraged. Find it. You're gonna find, one day if you keep searching, you're going to find the name that you know, that the family had prior to, at least one of them.
Thank you, Messi, Messi, Messi.
You're welcome. Let me tell you, today, Alicia,
yes.
You're not at all an African woman.
No.
With that hairdo, with that look, it is your Arawak Taino that is coming out.
C'est ça vrai. C'est ça vrai. Merci, mommy.
But well.
Yes, absolutely. I believe that's true because when I go back and look at my name, the running court in IET, I see a lot of writers and bookstore owners and publishers in IET with the name the running court. So it is like in your blood, it seems like. Okay, all right. Next comes Marlene. Marlene, if you're there, you can go ahead and unmute and ask a question, please. Marlene. Marlene, are you there? Oh, you know what? Marlene posted. Oh yeah, that's right. Her. Okay, I'm sorry. I forgot Marlene's audio doesn't work. So let me read her question. It's actually a comment to Ma Bello. Thank you for stressing the fact that we have to work on ourselves as individuals and the importance of individual sacrifice. So that was just a comment from Marlene Ma.
Thank you.
All right, now next question comes from John. John, you could go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Honor and respect to you, France, and Bayyinah Bello. My question is in regards to what you said earlier about two things. First, the soldiers making the sacrifice to sacrifice themselves for the greater good of the collective. Then you also mentioned about not reacting towards today's environment because we've been reacting for centuries on what's been happening to us. But now we must decide, where do we want to go and what are we going to do to get there? So my question is, what is our collective vision? Because we've seen many leaders come in before and implement a vision and a plan to push us further and move further. But what is our end game? our oppressors seem as if they're on a conquest for world domination and also genocide. So is this an end game that we're playing, a zero-sum game where one person wins or another person loses, or do we simply try to coexist? What type of end game do we should seek to have? What vision should we seek to have? And that way we can train up the youth and also train ourselves for that mission and for that purpose, and if needed, to make those sacrifices for the greater good of the collective. So what do you see as an end game, just for our collective good?
Even if the collective we have not expressed in clear terms where we want to go. But I don't think there is any one of us that would say we want to die, we want to disappear from the planet. So we can presume that survival is part of every one of us. Anyone who is awake enough to take conscious that this world is about, as you said, pillage and genocide. That's what they're about. Now, everyone who has to have to develop means to protect what you have. But the biggest thing that you have and that you must protect is your life. So if you start by working with yourself and developing as much as you can. One experience that I had in Nigeria, I live close to the Tuareg people. The Tuareg are desert people. A glass of water or a glass of anything, the glass is never bigger than this. Tuareg's pot for cooking the food is as big as that. Generally, their entire household stuff can be put in one scarf and put on the head of a woman and go. So these are people who live with very few possessions and very little intake. I have never seen a Tuareg family, even if they're 10, 12, and they make this little pot of tea. They often make tea in the afternoon. And anybody passing by, they'll call you, come have some tea, come have some tea. And you feel like, you know, this tiny little pot of tea for all these people, and then they're calling me to add to this. And you felt, you know, you don't want to take the tea. But that would be the biggest insult. Because in their perception of things, there is always enough for everybody. And sure enough, I don't care how many times I sat there and they called 2 and 3 and 4 other people, the pot always had tea. But logically, when I'm thinking this many glasses were filled, that pot shouldn't have any more tea. But that's the way they live. So I bring this in because I want us to understand the quantities that we're taking in are not necessarily what we need. The variety of things that we're taking in are not necessarily what we need. And once you become aware that those who are making these quantities brought these quantities into your life, brought these varieties into your life, are not about your best interests, then it's easy for you to take different decisions and take the decisions that are in our best interest. We have a song in Haiti, it's called the youth, the anthem, the hymn to the youth. Hymn to the youth would be the way you translate it. And it says somewhere, there's a paragraph that says, our nation needs healthy and strong young people, able to carry out whatever has to be done to protect the nation. Well, today they hardly ever play this song, but it is a song that is, to me, every
Hey, Ma, you're froze. Let's see if she's still on the line. She's still on the line. All right, looks like she's frozen. Usually she gets back in a few seconds. Let's see if that happens. Oh, okay. Looks like Ma's line dropped. So we'll just wait until she comes back on. I'm pretty sure she is attempting to come back on. So as soon as she comes back on, I'll get her back in. All right, let's see.
Greetings, family. I did want to offer some words towards when the sister was talking about the feather of Ma'at and being as light or lighter than a feather. I wanted to offer the food to remember that these are images that were deeply spiritual to us, images that offered more than one meaning. And in envisioning Ma'at, it was always a type of melange or contribution, a mixture of different principles, focusing around truth, justice, righteousness, reciprocity, harmony, order, and balance. And Empress Mama Bayyinah offered us this visual. And I know y'all remember when she was talking about the decision that a mother made to put her child in a cannon because the mission was to dismantle the cannon. This is what we put upon the scales. This is what we choose to do, given our spiritual systems, given who we are as an indigenous people. We make decisions that are based upon Ma'at. And one can only imagine the heaviness of what a heart could feel making a decision like that. But what kind of light would come from justice and correctness? That was powerful. That was powerful. And so I just wanted to offer those memories, those thoughts for us all to mill around.
Absolutely, brother.
I feel
That was good. Thank you.
Thanks for
respect.
sharing that. Thank you, brother. All right, let's see. So she is coming back. Anyone else have anything to add while we have our open forum, while we were waiting for Ma to come back?
How do we find out about our family and through Haiti? I've been kind of very skeptical about using DNA or giving my DNA. So I do want to know if there's a way to do it in Haiti. I would prefer that. How to trace your lineage.
Yeah, well, I don't necessarily have the answer to that question in particular, but we could definitely save that for Ma when she comes back. Let's see. Well, while we're waiting, I could share some of the information. Again, a lot of you are asking about the May 8th celebration. So the PayPal, if you are interested in donating to the royal birthday celebration on May 8th, she's accepting PayPal donations. That's the email right there to use. We've been taking donations through the Eventbrite, but for this particular event, you can do the donations straight through PayPal to the Fondation, fundacionfelicite@gmail.com. So I'm also going to create an Eventbrite link for this event as well. I just haven't done it yet, but that should be up and running probably by the end of today or tomorrow. And if you registered for today's event or today's webinars and Thursday's webinars, I'm going to send out the email with the information to register for this May 8th celebration. So you can look out for that. All right, let's see. Okay, Ma's still trying to get on. So, and also, sis, you could also, is your hand raised in the chat room or in the participants room? If it's not raised, you could go ahead and raise your hand, and she'll be happy to answer that question for you as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And of course, all of these sessions are, sponsored by Thoroughbred Books. That is the publishing company that I came up with about 5 years ago in 2015 in an effort to educate the youth about their history. First book was Haiti, the First Black Republic. Then I went into Makandal, the Black Messiah, Boukman. In fact, I'm thinking of doing sort of like a story time. Like if you guys want to, I know a lot of us have children. I know a lot of you have supported and purchased the book, so thank you very much. A lot of you have purchased the whole set, so thank you very much for that. But I was also thinking of doing sort of like a story time with all of the books, with all of the with all of the illustrations. So that might be something that I work on next. So if you're interested in something like that, let me know, where I go through each of the books. Maybe, I'll do like a 4-part series or 3-part series. I got 3 books. We did the Shiro's book a couple of weeks ago, but I could definitely do one with Haiti, Makandal, and Boukman. Those are all, great stories that I was able to put into these illustrated book forms. So that's coming down the pipe. So look out for that. But also, if you're interested in ordering the books, you can just go to the website, thoroughbredbooks.com. Also, I just posted the link to register for the Bayyinah and Friends this Thursday, where Bayyinah has her daughter, Dr. Amira Anacona Bello, and author Crystal Armand. So that's going to be a great event as well, coming up this Thursday. Let's see, Ma's having some problems logging on. So let's give her a little bit of time. Thank you guys for holding on. And of course, Dr. Wade Nobles is coming on May 7th. So that's going to be a great event. So I haven't put together the Eventbrite link for that yet. So as soon as that goes up, you'll receive an email to register for that as well. And hopefully everyone on this line follows Ma Bello on Instagram. Her Instagram is just pretty much at Bayyinah Bello. So she posts a lot. I'm actually the one that runs her Instagram account. So, she has a lot of responsibilities and a lot of different things. So she asked me to run her Instagram account. So most of the stuff that I put on there are clips of, things from her teachings, different video clips. A lot of times she actually sends me messages to post on there. So it's a great way to keep in contact with her on a more frequent basis. I'm trying to get her to be better with answering her DMs. She probably goes in her DMs like maybe once every couple of months, but she does eventually get there. So you could feel free to send her messages there as well. What else we got? Again, thank you for your donations. I know there are a few people on this line that have donated generously, so thank you very much. That's what's keeping all of this going. And also the chart. So for some reason, the way I communicate with a lot of you is sending the email through the Eventbrite link. And I know a lot of you have requested this updated chart. So shout out to Brother Kwesi for putting this chart together. It looks way better than the picture of the chart that's at the foundation. So if you're interested in this chart, I know everyone is interested in the chart, but it looks like the only way I'm going to be able to get this chart to you is to directly email it to you. So just send me an email. I know you guys are going to flood me, but it's all good. So send me an email. I'll put my email address in the chat room, and then I could just send you the chart directly. Let me put my thoroughbredbooks@gmail.com, pretty much. thoroughbredbooks@gmail.com. I just posted my email address in the chat room. So if you're interested in getting this chart, I'll send it to you directly. Let's see. When you do a DNA test, okay, some people request DNA be destroyed. Okay, that's good advice. Sam Challenger says, when you do DNA, you have to write them and request your DNA be destroyed. All right, that's good advice. Thank you. Do you have a recording of the meeting with the scientist? Actually, I do have the recording. I just have to post it on my YouTube channel. Yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that today. The YouTube channel. If you guys don't have it, it's pretty much Thoroughbred Books on YouTube. I've posted all the videos that we've had so far with Professor Bello on there. So all the Bayyinah and Friends, the Know Yourself, every part of the Know Yourself series is on there. The Bayyinah and Friends is on there. So definitely go ahead and go to my YouTube page and you could, get all those videos. I haven't done the scientist. Professor Bello's sister did a great science demonstration on Bayyinah and Friends a couple of weeks ago, and I've yet to post it on there, but I'll post it on there today. Let's see. The link to the YouTube page. All right, I can do that. Let me just get out of the... I'll post a link to the YouTube page shortly. Let's see what else. I need the ebooks. I do have ebooks for all of those books, actually. So whoever's interested in those books as ebooks, they're on Amazon Kindle. So all of them, Haiti, Makandal, Bookman, and Shiro's, you could get as an ebook, and they're pretty inexpensive. I think like $3. I think Shiro's might be $4, but the other ones are $3. So it's a great way to get that information as well. All right, let's check on Ma. Oh, wait, I think, did I just see her? Oh, yeah, she's here. Hey, Ma, you back?
Yes.
Oh, okay, there you are.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fantastic. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, so I believe you're in the middle of answering a question. Do you remember which question that was?
No.
All right. I believe it was something about songs. Maybe.
Yes, it was a question in regards to the end game, in regards to where do we go from there? I think you last left off on survival is the first thing, but I was thinking to myself, we've been on survival mode for a very long time, and we've seen the our past heroes push the ball forward. What vision should we
Okay. In my opinion, we have not been on survival mode. We are not on survival mode when we're buying cars, buying things left and right, using credit cards, and that's not survival mode. Okay. Survival is a very conscious decision to live a certain way and to know what we're keeping and saving for tomorrow, for the next year or the following decade. That's what we mean when we're talking about survival. We're not talking about existing. We're not talking about taking things as they are, as they come to us. We're talking about planning and plotting for our children, for our grandchildren. That's what we're talking about. Okay? So, yeah, in my opinion, we do need to go. How many of us even, when I was younger, when my children were growing up, I always had a stock of food that if anything went wrong and we couldn't go anywhere, probably could stay in my apartment for several weeks. several months maybe. We would make a lot of things and stock up and, you know, do this rotation and whatnot. We had a whole different way of looking at life. Okay, that is what we're talking about when we talk about survival. We're not talking about just existing. People were planning and plotting their survival. If tomorrow morning there is no electricity, they have ways to give themselves light. If tomorrow morning there is a shortage of whatever, waters or whatever, we know that we have tested our bodies and we know that we could live with 1 glass of water or 2 glasses of water per day. If you've always drank all the water you wanted to drink, you've eaten whatever you wanted to eat, you've never been on survival mode. And just not eat when there was nothing, that's not survival. Survival means that you're prepared to, if you had to go out in the wilds, how many of us know how to recognize leaves that you can eat? How many of us know how to catch a bird with a stone? That is what we're talking about when we talk about survival. Our children are afraid of every animal in the natural. We're not into survival. Our children cannot walk bare feet. We're not into survival. We can't walk bare feet. Okay, on stones, on all kinds of terrains. Okay, so let's be for real. When we talk about survival, and one element to surviving genocide is to have a plan and a plot for survival. That means that if everything you know today was not available to you, would you survive? That's what we mean. Do you know how to live with just shirt on your back? No change of clothes. You'll wash whatever you have on your back when you get to the next river. Do you know where the rivers are? In your neighborhood. That's what we're talking about. Okay. How long can you walk? Do you always have to have a car, a bus, a train to get somewhere? Do you know the geography of your immediate area? If you were 10 blocks away from your house and didn't have a car, do you have a plan as to how to get home without a train, a bus, or whatever? Okay, that's what we mean when we talk about survival. We're talking about a conscious plan to win no matter what. That's what survival is all about. It's not existing.
All right, thank you so much, Ma. Okay, next question. We have a lot of questions. Wow, okay, let's get busy. All right, thank you, John. Next question comes from TD. TD, you can go ahead, unmute yourself and ask a question, please. TD. TD going once. TD going twice. All right, we'll come back to you, TD. Next question comes from Family First. Family First, Bookman MD. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Ask a question, please.
We already spoke earlier during the time period, made our comment.
Oh, okay, yes, okay. So maybe I forgot to lower your hand. All right, thank you, brother. All right, let's see, Natasha Moore. Natasha Moore, you could go ahead, unmute yourself, ask a question, please. Natasha Moore.
Hello.
Don't put the plate in the trash, just dump the food.
Hello.
Yes, we're listening.
Hi. Thank you so much for your work. I guess I have a question about kind of like surviving in, I guess you could say, a white institution, or I'm getting my doctorate right now, and it seems like, you know, I don't really have to say much out of my mouth to be labeled as a threat. And then you know, fighting to produce work that is not repetitive, like you say, but that's actually serving the higher purpose is always, you know, and so it kind of makes me feel like, is education even worth it, worth pursuing this, because it just tears you down? I guess any advice you have around that, trying to be your full self in that space.
Okay. Number one, let's be for real. Could a mouse go to the cat school and expect to be educated in their collective best interest? Okay. So once we know where we're going, then we can make a plan for that. Okay. Doesn't mean you have to quit. No. Once you know, okay, I'm a mouse and I'm going to the cat school. What do I need to survive? Okay. The information that I'm going to gather, what do I need to do to it to get to the information that I need for myself? Okay. When I'm doing a homework, am I doing the homework so I can express myself? Or am I doing the homework so I get a grade? Okay, I'm clear. I'm doing a homework to get a grade. Hey, here is the way this homework is gonna go, so I could get my grade. It changed nothing with my conviction. It changed nothing with what I know. It changed what nothing. If I think this paper I just wrote is nothing but crap, I already graded my paper myself. I know it's crap, but this is the crap that will get me an A. And that's what I'm gonna give to the teacher. You have to take decisions that is in your interest. You cannot always, we want to walk, some of us want to walk with our hearts, our liver, our lungs right here on our hands. See me? See how you design? A whole bunch of who you are is hidden. So you choose to let others in when you want to. And that's what women will talk about, being in control of yourself. Everywhere you are, time, space, actions. What type of actions do I do in this space during this parenthesis of time? What I do here is not what I will do here. But what is important, I don't want to be lost. I have to be clear. I'm doing this for this purpose, and I'm doing that for this purpose. I know what I'm doing. What people think is their problem. I have to work on my behalf, my family, my nation. So if you decide you want to have a PhD, then go ahead, have a PhD, but don't mix things up that the PhD has to express what I, blah, 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 blah. No.
Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. It's my pleasure.
All right, fantastic. I have a quick question. Where'd you get that shirt from? That's a beautiful blue and gold shirt with the crown on the chest. I like that.
Oh yes, that is one of the uniforms that Fondation Félicité we wear when we are celebrating the Empress and the Queen. Because these are the colors of the Empress. Of course, the crown of the Empress we wear on our,
Awesome. So. Awesome. Would you like to talk, well, since I just brought it up, would you like to mention a little bit about the celebration?
Well, that's always a pleasure to talk about celebrating those two great women. And in fact, very soon, everyone will be receiving a biographical note, so you all know who we're talking about when we talk about Queen Marie-Louise of Haiti or Empress Félicité of Haiti. You have some data, some information about them and what they have accomplished. And so on May 8th is their birthday. They are born 30 years apart. The Empress in 1748 and the Queen in 1778. For the past 20 years, this will be the 21st year of Fondation Félicité celebrating their birthdays. We usually do a very nice big party with 600, 700, 1,000 people attending. Of course, this year it has to be different, but not too different now. We're fighting hard. So we get a lot of everything that they're accustomed to. We keep it. And so we have invited everyone who follows our series, who participate in Know Yourself or Bayyinah in France, to help us, to contribute so we can do the things we want to do for them. We are inviting you also to plan a birthday at home. We're also inviting you. France is having a nice Zoom party for them also on that day. But anyone, we have so far received from a dancer. She's preparing a special dance for the two royals of Haiti. We have Sister Keshini who's planning an ebook about them. We have different people are planning different things, and we have a restaurant who wants to make a special meal for them, even if we're not going to gather a large, we're not going to have a very large gathering, but they want to honor our Queen and our Queen and Empress with foods, because that's what their specialty is. So anyway, I'm waiting to hear the rest of you. I don't see here Bayyinah Bello at Fondation Félicité, the email. Everyone should have that email, Bayyinah Bello at fondationfelicité.com. And with that email, you could write and let us know how do you plan to celebrate our ladies? Besides, of course, joining in France Zoom party, besides sending a contribution, you might want to do something. You might want to, you have a special bottle of champagne at home, and the two of you or the three of you are gonna pop it up and say happy birthday to our Queen and Empress. So anyway, we would like to hear from you. How do you see you can contribute to our celebrating to our great royals, the Queen Marie-Louise and the Empress Félicité of Haiti? We're counting on you so that in spite of what the world has decided, we will give them the biggest and greatest celebration ever. I'm counting on each one of you. Let me see, I have 123 plus 40, 163 people listening to me. So I'm expecting 163 emails this evening.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you do come up with something, whatever you come up with on our Zoom party, the camera will be on you, and you could contribute what it is you'll contribute, and everyone will be able to see. So come up with something great, and then you'll be able to present to the Queen and the Empress. All right. So now going back to our questions, let's see. That was Natasha Moore. We just did Natasha Moore, right? So now we have Natasha Robert. So Natasha Robert, you could go ahead and unmute and ask a question, please.
Yes, my question was, I asked a question before, but I had another question that came up right after. So my question was because one of the sisters had asked about finding her lineage and asking questions in terms of being able to find your African name and what does that mean. And for me, I only know, I guess, my grandmother's last name, which it seems more like a French last name because most Haitians have French last names. And that's pretty much as far as I can go in general, but I've been wanting to change my name to an African name, but I don't know how I should go about it, how to approach it? Like, should I just choose a name that I feel connects to me, or should I try to figure out how to get back to figuring out what my purpose is and then choose a name based off of that? But like, you know, there's so many different African countries and
cultures, etc. Right.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, how do I go about choosing one?
All right, the easiest place to start, the first name they give you in Africa is the day that you're born. That's why you'll see that a lot of people call Kosi, Kwame, Kofi. These are the days of the week.
Yeah.
So start with that. Find out what day you were born and start with your day. And then that will give you the time to do whatever questioning that you need to do in order to determine what process you need to have for the rest of your name. But you can start off with the day of your birth. That also will help you because you are sort of harmonizing yourself with your birth day. Okay, so you start with that, you have your day, and then you'll see. With the rest, there are many ways to go. You could see somebody who knows how to do. Some people do know how to tell, how to do a reading for you and get to know where you're at, where you're going, and help you with what kind of name. Generally, in African cultures, in many times, you have the day of your birth, and then you have the name that tells which ancestor is present in your body. And then you have the name that tells what the purpose, what you're aiming for. So generally you have those three names. So start with the first one, which is the easiest one, the day of your birth.
Yeah, so I found that one, which was the name that I would be called if I was born like in Ghana on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. So then I guess based on being born on a Sunday, then I would just move forward with, you know, figuring out like, what does that mean being, you know, what else entails.
Mm-hmm. But do you use it?
No, because I haven't.
Yes, you don't. You see, you're looking for more. You don't use what you got. By using what you've got.
Okay.
By doing that, you are working the rest up. Okay?
Yes.
You start. And then look at it will open so many doors for you. You'll meet somebody who says, oh, your name is so-and-so. Do you know what it means in my language? I'm not from Ghana, but in our country, you'll meet this person who says that. All of this will guide you so you can get to where you want.
Okay. And then one last thing. Because
there'll be a charge for that. Third questions are always paid for.
Okay.
Go to the donation page.
Yes. So some of my friends, they say like when I change my name that they're not going to call me that name. They're going to call me the name that they knew me of, you know, from. So how should I deal with that?
I am sure the answer is in you. Let's not get in that mood where we want people to tell us what we already know. You know what you have to do. Okay? But I will share with you what I did when I named myself. My mother don't play with people. And my mother was absolutely furious. And I knew we were gonna go to war. Okay? Very simple. My mother would call whatever name she knew. This girl here had nothing to say. I don't hear nothing that's not Bayyinah. I was a little bit, my attitude was, with my grandmothers, I would be more tolerant because they were much older. I was shocked. Grandmas, when I told them one time, and they were, okay, girl, that's your name, Bayyinah. But my mother, my father went to war, and ultimately, they had no choice. One day I heard, Bayyinah. When they wanted to talk to me, they had to call me my proper name. That's it. That's what I did. You must find out what you must do with those.
Thank you.
alignment. You're welcome.
Thank you, Natasha. Let us know when you get your name, make sure you sign in under your new name, all right?
And I'll go to the donation page.
That's right. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. All right, next question comes from Barbara Dominique. Oh, yeah, Barbara Dominique, then we'll go back to TD. But Barbara Dominique, you could go ahead, unmute yourself and ask a question, please.
My question was the same as about trying to find my ancestry. I don't really trust the American companies here with my DNA, so I haven't done it. But I would like to have some type of, some place to start. If I could start in Haiti, that would be great, where I could find out what, where I could trace back where I'm from and who my people are.
Well, sounds like you have a good start. Number one, decide not to let people mess up with your DNA. That's a smart way to start.
No.
And number two, researching. That's a very good second step. Okay. And research can be done in many different levels. You could do the research that go into files and documents and questioning parents, grandparents, questioning the older people. In our case in IT, what I often say to people, don't overlook the servants. Generally, there are many servants in around the family. And the auntie may not want to tell you about a lot of things. Grandma may not want to tell you about a lot of things. But if you know who was working around the house when you were born, they know everything. They know the things they don't want you to know. So if you could get a hold of them, those are the best people to get information from. Don't overlook them. The cook, the cleaning person, the chauffeur, they know.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yes. All right, let me try to go back to TD. TD, are you still there? Can you hear? Can you unmute?
Yes, I can.
All right, there you go, bro. Go ahead.
All right, so this question was kind of answered prior, but the last two meetings, Mother Bayyinah mentioned that it's not skin color, it's not skin color, it's mindset. And then on the other side of that, I think it was John Henry Clark who mentioned that Black people have no friends. So being in this multicultural world, you interact with different people on a daily basis. You'll meet someone, they're really great. And then on the flip side of that, you're reminded that no one is, back again to John Henry Clark, that no one is your friend. So how do we navigate this landscape?
You're on a warpath. No one is your friend. That's where you start.
Mm-hmm.
We use your good sense. Just look at yourself as a soldier, okay? You're a soldier, you're in a battalion. Everybody in the battalion is sort of your support system, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you also know that if on the battlefield you fall, nobody's gonna pick up your body and carry it to the 2 blocks to bring it to wherever. If you drop your gun, somebody's not gonna hand his gun to you. So those are the reality of the brotherhood of the war. You cannot put your trust, just expect that others will pick up for you. They can't, because this is wartime. In other times we might, friends like me, and he might pull a chair for me, he might help me hold on if I have bags that are too heavy, he might hold them, etc. But if we were in a war situation, he'd just say, Ma, you either drop your bag or carry it. He's not going to pick it up for me because he has his 200 pounds on his back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality. Okay. The minute we face up that we are not in peacetime, then we can get the right frame of mind to deal with each other. It doesn't mean that he doesn't like me because he says, Ma, you have to carry your bag.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this particular, remember, time, space, action. What action we do on this space in this particular time, depending on what kind of time it is.
Correct.
If it's rainy time, we dress a certain way. If it's hot, we dress a certain way. If it's cold, we dress in a different way. And the same is true with people's attitudes and behaviors. The trauma is that we keep thinking we are in lovely, democratic, blah, 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 blah world when it's not. Wake up. Why wartime has its what it demands. Okay, where is your beautiful democracy? Well, right now they say, okay, everybody in the house, nobody stepped outside. If we find you outside the street by 6 p.m., we shoot you. That's democracy, right?
So basically, keep your guard up.
That's the climate that you into. We have to be aware of the time. That's what time. Time doesn't just mean 9 a.m., 6 a.m. When you're talking about rain, that's time. When you're talking about snow, that's time. That's climate. That's time.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you the characteristics of that moment.
So basically, you're saying just be adaptable.
You have to be intelligent. That's the minimum. You have to use your good sense. You have to remember what we saw you have to question, develop courage. You have to speak your own, or when you don't speak, what you're supposed to do, be silent. You don't always have to speak. There's a time for speaking and a time for shut up. So you have to judge the moment properly. You have to observe your environment. Don't walk around as if you had no eyes, no ears, no sensing organs. In fact, you have to sharpen up all your senses so you can be clear on what moment you're in. When you step into the street, we in Haiti, we know that well. We might maybe going out and we're in the street and there's hardly any cars. There are very few merchants on the street. And there is a feel about that, the street that day, that moment. I would roll down the windows, take a smell, breathe in. I might decide, forget it, we're not going where I want to go. Turn around. Because the street don't feel right. See, if you are sharp, you don't get caught into a lot of different things. Because the atmosphere already knows when there's going to be a big demonstration, people are going to be shooting, burning, blah, 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 blah. Before this starts, the smell of it is there. The sense of it, there is something eerie about the place.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're half asleep, we don't catch up on this. We just go on and then we find ourselves, whoa, in the middle of what we didn't need to be in.
You're correct. You're correct there. I see that happen a lot,
Okay.
especially living in a country where technically I'm the minority. I do see that happen a lot, especially with my African brothers who come here. Oh, great friends. Then they get burnt.
All right. So you have to sharpen up your senses. Sharpen up. And that's where questioning becomes very, very important. That's bizarre. The woman who usually sells candy here is not there. How come? This woman is always there from 4 a.m. in the morning. Your mind has to catch it. And you turn around and look over here. Things is not where maybe that's not a very good day to go do what I wanted to do. Let's go back.
Thank you so much.
You're
You
welcome.
answered my question.
All right, very good. Great advice, Mom. Trust yourself. All right, D-Life. D-Life, if you're there, you could go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question, please. D-Life. D-Life.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, yes, we hear you clearly. Someone is complaining, you can't see my face. Oh, I have the wrong position.
Oh, yeah, that's way better. Look at you. You're in HD now.
I see.
All right, go ahead, D-Life. We heard you, but you went back to mute. Are you still there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mama Bayyinah. I really love the way that you are teaching the principles and the principles to live by. I really love that. I am a Calabasas and I am a Shekere creator. So a lot of my analogies center around the calabash. And one of the things that I usually do when I'm out on exhibit is I have a bucket of water and I put a calabash in it. And I ask people, can you keep this gourd down? And of course they can't because the gourd, the calabash floats. So I tell people to be like the calabash, be like the gourd. You can never keep a good gourd down. So I'm happy to see that you're outside and you said that you're near the gourd tree or the gourd
tree. Yes,
yes. So I would love to see your gourd tree. And maybe you can tell
Jerry,
us.
let me see if somebody could just send you a picture.
And then maybe you can tell us how the gourd became the currency for Haiti.
All right. That's Jerry va dans het ouvre le machin ici pour que mon petit ouais pied calebasse pied. Na het heel. Voici head here.
Everyone say
And excuse, please forgive me. Yeah.
Everyone say hi to Jerry.
Okay. So, yes.
Oh, hold on, Ma. We can't hear you.
Decided.
Oh, no, we hear you now. Okay.
Okay. All right. King Henry, once he decided that he wanted to create Haiti's money, he observed the environment and he realized that the gourd or the calabash was the thing most used in the country. Everybody had it. You have it to carry water, you have it to save grains, you have it to eat. Military people use the flat big calabash to carry water on the field. Everybody had a use for some type of calabash. It's a very versatile thing. So you have different dimensions, shapes, etc., etc. So he took a law to declare that all calabash trees are for the state. No one can pick a calabash from the tree. And then he put his army in places in the fields full of calabash. He would put his army to protect the calabash trees. So then everyone, if you wanted to have calabash, you had to bring either potatoes, corn, or something to the government, and the government would give you an amount of calabash that would be equal to whatever you brought in. Whatever the people brought in was sold to foreigners, foreign countries, against gold. And then he purchased all the equipment so we could mint our own gold pieces and silver pieces. and call the money good, because it is thanks to the good, the calabash, that we have the money.
Outstanding. And that was King Henry.
That's correct.
Oh, wow. Thank
His
you.
wife we're celebrating on May 8th, who is Queen Marie-Louise d'Haïti. Okay.
Thank you so much for that.
So last year, no, 2 years ago in Atlanta, I went in a Sugar Ray course. I took a class. Oh, Franz was there that day, but he didn't participate. But I did. So yes, it's very interesting. So it's a very good thing. So anyway, Jerry is ready. He's got the tree under. Est-ce que nous ka wè là? Ou ka fè wè? Okay, Jerry, take Jerry. Sam gen pou m fè. Franz,
Oh,
we have
Jerry's on here?
we
Jerry.
have the tree there. On where? On Kisa.
Jerry.
He's on my phone. Bayyinah Bello. Oh no. Oh, I'm on Bayyinah.
Yeah, you're on Bayyinah Bello.
Right. So
have him start speaking. Maybe he'll take over the camera.
okay. Oh, you want him to speak? Dis quelque
And
chose.
maybe he will take over his camera if he speaks, maybe.
Yeah, tell him to unmute.
Unmute.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, I see him. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
There he is.
Here it is.
Oh my goodness. Are there calabash on it?
Yes. Si you prend quelques calbas pour le la prendre est-ce que quelques calbas là dedans? Ouais,
One moment.
on zoom pour calbas.
Okay.
No, pas
Oh, that's one right there.
Éclairage.
Éclairage, because of the light, you know.
Yeah.
You here is I can see a couple of calabash there.
Yeah, I see them. And I see them, yeah.
Yeah. Here you go.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you, Jerry.
Merci.
De nada.
Okay. All right.
All right, awesome. Very nice. That's one of my favorite King Henry stories also, how he created the good.
Yes. So, but that is the flat calabash with a beak. That's the one that's called the good.
Yeah, like the canteen. Okay, next question. Thank you, D-Life. Next question is from Francine. Fran, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question, please.
Okay, I've been waiting a while. I don't know if I can remember my question that well. I was remembering the theme of the questioning you said was to awaken the teacher within, because that's our most important teacher. And so I was having this, meditating one day in relation to the class, and I had a vision of a session I did with a teacher in this trauma therapy program that I'm trying to get certified in, and it was something that didn't, it was in relation to something that didn't get taken care of skillfully, let's put it that way. So I was reflecting on this image I had, and all of a sudden I could, it was a communication that didn't go well, and with a male, a boyfriend at that time, and I kind of went into this state of like, I didn't know myself at the time. I didn't know really my true nature in terms of my spirit. And so he mentioned love, and I just kind of went into this. First, I was confused by the question he presented me, which was, do I love him? And that was odd to me because he was from a different culture. The expectation is you're going to tell me that, not ask me that the other way around. So something in my being chose love, and I just sort of went into this full-blown meditation state. I was like in this bliss state, and but when in recovering a piece of myself, I chose that part to I chose my meditation self, and so thinking of the exercise, I didn't realize I could do that, and actually that part came back to me. And so my question is the questioning a way of calling yourself back, calling your soul back?
There are many ways that you can express it, but once you go in questioning, there are no limits as to where you might get and who you might meet. And that's why questioning is so important. It's not something that you can say that questioning will take you to. Questioning opens the road and invites you in. How far you'll get, how deep you'll get, how, what you will find, who you will meet, it's all up to you. There's no limit to the questioning.
Okay, I have a second question, and that is in some African traditions, they believe you have more than one soul. Can you speak to that? Is that a part of your understanding?
No, I do not know anything about that. That is not my understanding. What I can repeat, I cannot say that I know. In Doom, we say that you come back 16 times. For you, you're given 16 chances to accomplish your mission. And after 16 times, you don't have a chance anymore. But
I think I should clarify that. Like in the Egyptian culture, the Kemetic, I think there's like 5 aspects of a person. Like your brain is one soul, your thought, your heart, different parts of yourself.
Okay. Different aspects is one thing, but
yeah, different aspects. I
didn't
mean people like, I didn't mean like getting remembering who your past lives. There's nothing to do with that. I meant aspects of your self. Yes.
Yeah. Well, everything that is alive has spirit. So every part of you has spirit. Your hand have its own memory of everything. If somebody who's a great pianist dies and they take their hand and put them for me, then I will be a pretty good pianist myself, even though I never studied it. Because I will receive from those hands all the experience, the memory, the spirit of piano playing that I did not have prior to having these hands attached to my body. Okay, so if we're talking in that sense, every part of us, there are things, experiences that your eyes do, and your nose don't know much about it, but your eyes have the memory of, whatever happened there in that way. That's about what I could say about different parts of bodies have their own experiences and their own memories, because each is inhabited by its own spirit.
Can the questioning be like you said, speaking to different, like Fidel Castro spoke to the storm? Can questioning be like speaking to your heart, because maybe you're feeling ailing in your heart, or sometimes speaking to your brain because you're feeling out of sorts there, like directing the questioning there.
No limits to the questioning. Only you can set the rules. What need to be questioned? As you might recall, one session, somebody told us that she felt that she accomplished a lot professionally, this, that, and the other, but on her personal life, she felt she did not go very far. Well, what was necessary, what we say is that, hey, you need to question your personal life. You've questioned your professional life enough, so you have advanced there, but you've not questioned the personal life. It needs to be questioned so it will improve. So anything, any domain, every area of your life can be questioned, and the communication between you and you is the most important, not the one between you and us.
My last question is
All
attitude.
right, hold up. We have a lot of questions.
No, it was just attitude. Attitude when you question. I don't recall you discussing that. How does one what does one attitude towards oneself when you question?
You see, you have to free yourself from wanting others to set up rules for you. Okay? The whole purpose of our sessions is to give you principles that you will use and establish the rules and the domains, and you have all the freedom to do a lot of things with the principle. But we don't set the rules for you. You see? Attitude is something so vast and so fluid. You have to determine, depending on what you need to know, which attitude is necessary. There are days I have to talk to Bayyinah and say, listen, you better get off of this and cut that out. But other times, that will not get me anywhere with Bayyinah. I need to say, well, you know what? Hey, there's some candy here, there's some cookies, and get some of that, and then we're gonna see. That is what you have to determine for yourself. Using the principle of questioning, you have to determine the different moment where different attitudes will be proper for what you want to accomplish.
Thank you, Bayyinah. Thank you, friends.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. Okay, we still have a chat room full of raised hands, so we're gonna have to move a little bit quickly. It's 3:15. We passed our 2-hour mark. So we're going to do another lightning round of questions so that we could try to get to as many people as possible before we shut down. Again, remember, this is the last sessions of Know Yourself, so we're going to try to get to everyone, but we have to be respectful of Professor Bello's time as well. So we're going to get these questions in quickly. Please, one question per person, and then I'll post my Bello's email address in the chat room, so if you have more questions, you could contact her directly. All right, thank you very much.
Not only that, I am expecting how many emails this evening?
160 something.
All right. So, question two, I'm expecting emails.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so next question, let's move. Bethy Victorian, oh yeah. Go ahead and unmute and you can ask a question. Bethy Victorian.
Dr. Ya.
Dr. Ya, Elon.
Dr. Ya.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My Black magnificent people. Okay, I mean,
So you have two things on?
Yes, I have two things on.
All right.
Okay. Give me a second. I didn't realize. Let me put it all over there. Hold on.
This is the opposite of lightning round.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. So I wanted to make a comment about the power of naming.
And the reason I want to make a comment is because I went on a journey to name myself. And like Ma Bello said, you know, the different days of the week. So my journey was through Kwanzaa, learning the 7 principles. And one of the principles I love was Kujichagulia, which is the 2nd principle, about naming yourself, speaking for yourself, and building for yourself. So on my journey, I heard of Adina. Adina is a naming ceremony, Ghanaian, and Afrocentricity was having it. So I attended, and I basically had to write 2 paragraphs about myself, who I am, who I think I am. And Dr. Ama Mazama came back with a name for me, Ya Elombe. I was born on a Thursday, and I'm very generous. And I was like, yes, this captured my spirit. So I got my demon, and I added Dr. Ya. And last year, in October, I went and I joined Ma Bello for the celebration of Papa Dessalines, Jean-Jacques Dessalines. And I added, you know, with all that was going on during that time, I added Dessalines. So I became Dr. Ya Elombe Dessalines. Okay? But now, Ma Bello, I have a new name now. Even though I always kid around and tell people that my name, Betty Victorine, is my government name. I'm not attached to it anymore, but I have a lot of fond memory, and I know the story behind my name that my godmother gave me. But now my friend now called me Betty X. And X is for all the extra names that I'm picking up. I didn't do a name. I did kind of a search of the Victorine, but it didn't get me too far. So I decided to name myself, and that's my journey about finding my power in my name. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ya. And yes, we have a great video of you at the foundation doing your dance with Ma Bello, saluting and all that good stuff. So
Yes, on September 20th, 2019.
that's right. Okay, all right, let's move on with the questions very quickly, please.
Lacey filmed it all.
Yeah, oh, okay. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you was
Lena Noel, you could unmute and ask a question, please. Lena Noel.
I'm sorry. Can you skip me and come back? I have to change my daughter's pamper real quick. Can you come back to me?
That's
Sure.
a good reason.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Faye Abdullah, you could go ahead, unmute and ask a question, please.
Greetings. I initially had a comment about the African group that she talked about, that was the discipline with the tea and the food and how they kept everything small and contained. And it moved me because we know we live in this environment in the United States that they keep putting this out there that they want to minimize the population because these people are starving. So she, Sister Bayyinah, bringing that information to us as a valid source, that we can now judge that these comments, I knew it anyway, are coming from people who are planning our demise as a people. So I appreciated that comment. And I also, if I can ask just one question too, about the spirit of Ogu that she said was Fidel Castro. And I'm not knowledgeable on all of the Yoruba and the Orishas and all that kind of stuff. So can you go back and explain again what that quality of Ogu means?
Okay, the essence of Ogu is the power to transform. That's the number one. That is the core of Ogu. So if you are in slavery and you need to transform from slave mentality to a freedom mentality, Ogu is the principle that you want to apply. If you are in poverty and want to move on to prosperity, again, you have to deal with Ogu, the power of transformation.
Power of transformation.
But yes,
Thank you.
But often people just limit it to saying, you know, like, oh, it's the god of war, or it's the god of iron, or the god of fire, because the easiest way to see transformation is when you take iron, you put it in fire, you can transform it into a sword, a machete, a fork, or whatever. You can take any metal, put it in fire, and you could make whatever tool you want out of it. But it's not limited to that, because when we talk about principles, we're talking about the very mental structure of transformation.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Oh, I muted myself. Okay, thank you for that question. All right, next is Harmony. Harmony Benegusenga. Harmony, you could go ahead and unmute yourself, ask a question, please. Harmony, are you there? Harmony going once? Harmony going twice?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, because I had texted you my question just in case my mic would not work. So yeah, I had a question about the names. So I'm from a country where when we're born, we get not only a first name, but also a last name, because with the whole genocide and things that happened, our parents like to take to make sure that we can start our own legacy and continuity. So my question was, let's say if I meet you and let's say my grandmother did something wrong to you, is it still a possibility for me to get a chance to know you as who I am as an individual, as to where I'm from, or what family I'm from, or what legacy is in my DNA and all of these things? And thank you very much for the knowledge.
You're very welcome. Yes, it is. If I meet you, and there is in our families, there are baggages. Now you and I are from one family. We are from the African family, right? And there is baggage in our backgrounds. Well, that's where my art has to come in. I have to deal with who you are. I have to deal with whose child you are, whose grandchild you are as well. If you two will deal with the facts, we can get to a very good area of functioning together. But if you want to deny what has happened, then there isn't much of a chance of us getting anywhere.
Yes.
Because you cannot have justice without truth.
Mm.
So
Yes.
you cannot talk about my art without truth.
Yes. I understand completely, because when you look at the family I'm from, it's like one side is like from kings and queens, and then you have another side from slaves. So I would never like attempt to deny the kind of legacy that is in me. But I also have noticed that sometimes people can overrule who I am as an individual, but then more focus on who, like from where I am, or from whose child I am, and all of that. So that's always a concern to me.
You have to be careful not to let appearances decide fundamental decision, guide out a fundamental decision. But be careful. You said something about, one side being king and queens and the other side being slaves, but that's not correct, because you have many cases of kings and queens becoming slaves.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And pirates becoming kings and queens.
Yes.
So it's not that easily that one should, that's why, it's necessary to take the time, Sankofa, go back, step back, look at all that happened, and take it all into consideration, and look at what's going on in the present. And as we said, it doesn't matter when it's in the family. It makes no difference what happened in the past if we can both agreed to the facts.
Yes, exactly.
If we can agree to the facts, we can step over them.
Yes, exactly. I
But if
understand.
there is denial, if there are lies, if Franz wants to pretend that his grandfather did not steal my grandmother's land, then we can't agree on anything because we have to deal with this thing there. That's where, you know, we have to first start and move on.
Yes,
But
I understand.
if there was a theft, then hey, yes, what are we going to do to erase that? That's the
Yes.
next question.
Yes, thank you. I understand. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have 7 questions left in the queue. Let's see if we could get through them as quickly as possible. Juna J or Junaj, you could go ahead, unmute your line and ask a question, please.
You were right. It's Juna the first time.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Juna. Go ahead.
My question was actually specifically related to one of the events that's on the Eventbrite calendar for May. I just wanted to find out if you were in fact doing a live event in Broward County, Florida, if that was still on for May 30th. I'm looking to purchase tickets for both myself and my children, and I wanted to, before I did purchase tickets, find out what the status of that event would be.
As far as we are concerned, we are still planning to do it. Now, there are many things that are not in our
control.
Right. You know, we cannot open airports.
Understand.
But we're working at it.
I understand. I appreciate that.
We plan to have everything in place so we could do our event.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, for those that don't know, there's an event that Ma Bello is doing May 30th in Florida, South Florida, which is the Hidden History of Haiti series by Brother Khalid. So that should be a great event. So let's all send our positive energy down there to make sure that event takes place.
Yes, we're planning it.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's see. So next, Shadana. Shadana, go ahead. You could unmute your line and ask a question, please.
Okay. Hi, Mama Bello. Hi, Franz. Thank you to everybody on the call for joining. Simple question. I'm a young mom. I have 3 kids. And what advice, Mama Bello, would you give to mothers in America who want to raise their children under the Vodou practices?
First of all, the mother herself has to make sure she is solid, not hesitant about things. She has to be clear. When you're unsure, it's best not to involve the children because you're passing on hesitation. You're passing on maybes. Okay? So, and that's why, in fact, in Vodou, the principle is we do not go and convert people. Okay? You do what you believe to be. And you are who you believe to be. And your children are around you, and the children will come and say, oh, Mom, can I take the water for you? Can I would like to do this. Then they're ready. You share. Okay? But it's not about take your chance. Well, you know, if today is Ezeli's day, you should wear this, you know. No. Be who you are and let your being attract all like hearts. Okay? So don't force anything on them. Okay. Do what you have to do and let them be attracted.
Okay.
You're very welcome. But on Thursday, we have as guest Dr. Amira Anakauna Bello, who will tell us how to get our children. She started her own children at 1 or 2 with learning math. And she has developed a nice technique how to start them early so math means nothing to them. Today, the girls are 8, and it's fun for them to do 2 pages of math, 3 pages of math homeworks. It's fun. It's not work. So tune in on Tuesday to see these young ladies are gonna share. I think they'll have both of them have each one of my guests have 3 children. So you'll have plenty of.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That's this Thursday, so a couple of days away. So make sure you guys register for that event. I posted the link to it in the chat room. All right, so moving on. Thank you, Shadana. So moving on, we have Eddie Colson. You go ahead and very quickly ask a question.
Yeah, sure. It's more of a request. I'm gonna make it quick. So I believe that music is really important and can also be very dangerous. You know, I'm a huge hip hop fan, but I think that it's been detrimental a little bit in certain ways, depending on who we listen to. And I'm getting more into languages and voodoo and you know, just African culture and the songs. And I do capoeira, and I know some of the capoeira songs. So I just wanted to know if there was like a list that maybe you a favorite list, Mama, that you may have for voodoo songs, maybe Creole songs or French songs. Maybe I can send you an email. You can send it to me.
Absolutely, that's done.
Thanks for the platform. You like this is amazing. I really appreciate you for just having this. This is great.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, thank you, brother. Yeah, just go ahead and email Ma Bello directly, and she'll be happy to help you out with that list. Okay, next is Francesca. Francesca, you could go ahead, unmute, and ask your question, please.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We hear you.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much for doing all of this. I have been looking for you for my whole life. But my question today is how, because I know I grew up in a very Christian family, and voodoo was something that I was taught to be scared of and stay away from. And I've learned that everything that I was taught as a child was a lie. So now that I'm learning the truth about voodoo and spirituality, I wanted to ask you, how can we introduce the idea of honoring our ancestors to the people that were taught to think it's a bad thing? Because the moment you think somebody practices honoring their ancestors, it's like something that's really bad. How can we switch the idea that it's not bad, it's actually a good thing to connect with the ancestors, instead of thinking that they don't exist and to be scared of them?
All right. Voodoo does not care what you think about it. Once we are into whatever we're into, whether it's voodoo or whatever, okay? There are two types of behavior, cultural behavior. Those who want to go out and force others into what they want. But in our practice, we don't care what you do. What I want to do is be the best that I can be and what I am. Now, what often happens is that the neighbor next door, and that's exactly the story with, I have a neighbor just across the street. Good Christian, blah, blah, blah. She heard this woman, voodoo, blah, blah, blah. She had the attitude. Anyway, she got into a situation, health situation. She needed some leaves from my yard. And then she needed something else, and then she needed some advice. And I gave it. And then, you know, and now whenever she hears the drum beats here, because
she comes to participate.
And I come. All right. So
all right,
let's remove this from our head that we need to go out and convince others. What we need is to build our strength, our thing, ourselves, you know, that you reach a point where if you say, let's say, for example, we know we want to be in Florida on May 30th. Well, we want to develop the power to say it. We want everything to be in place so that on May 30th, all the airports are open, the planes are flying, not asking $4,000 for a trip, Port-au-Prince, Atlanta, Port-au-Prince, Florida, okay? Price that we can afford. And then we want things to go the way we want them to go. That's it. Then we know, we worked, this is what we established, that's what we said, and what we said is done, period.
Done. All right. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I will see you on May 30th. I will get my ticket. Thank you very much.
Good.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
All right, thank you, Francesca. Okay, last few questions. Leona L. Leona, you could go ahead, unmute yourself and ask a question, please.
Greetings, Ma Bello, and thank you for all you do, and Franz. My question is, I understand the work required to move forward, but how do you deal with the regret of not making certain choices in the past that you believe would have made your life better, or things that you should have started sooner? So how do you deal with that sort of it as it keeps coming up, I guess?
That you should have started sooner?
Yeah, just dealing with like constantly regretting things that you should have done, or that you think like that you've been thinking about for a long time that you just should have started sooner.
Well, don't browbeat yourself. Everything happened in its own good time. If you talked about it for 10 years and didn't do anything until the 10th year, that means you were not ready.
Okay.
So if you step up now, you're going to see, well, if there won't be a way for you to verify that, but there is a strong possibility that had you started 10 years, or let's say there were 2 U's. One started 10 years when you first said, oh, I should blah, 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 and start. And the other one, little old la-di-da said, yeah, I'm going to, sure I will. And then start 10 years later. 2 years later, we might find that the one who started 10 years later is further down the road than the one who started 10 years earlier.
Okay, thank you.
So don't go through telling yourself, that's just, beating yourself unnecessarily. I should have, I would have, I could have. No. Whatever is, let's take it and let's be serious about it and let's do it all the way.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you, Leona. Next question is Jay. Jay, you could go ahead, unmute yourself, ask a question, please.
Hello, greetings, Mama Bello. Thanks a lot for your time. I have a question about numbers. I've been seeing double numbers for a very long time. At the beginning, it was 11 constantly, and then now it's just double numbers, 20 10 13, and it's been, I kind of ignore it, but it's been like nearly a year now, and I stopped looking for meanings for it, but it's kind of being behind me.
Okay, it's funny you said 2020, you said 13. In both cases, 4.
Okay.
And 4 is the basic, the elements, the 4 elements, okay? And when you have double, it's the attempt at balancing, okay? So you're either receiving a message that you are doing a good job balancing things out in your life, or that you need to balance things out. You don't need to tell. It's between you and you.
Okay.
And you will know how to deal with it.
Okay.
All right, very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mama Bello.
You're very welcome. Be blessed.
Yes. All right, next question. Lena. Lena is back from changing the baby.
Yes, thank you.
All right, go ahead.
The last time I was on a meeting with Mama Bello, I told her that I wanted to move back to Haiti. I hope you remember me. And I said that, I would like to live like en dehors, not, in the city. But I don't know, it's like my whole, and then from the beginning of this meeting, you said, if you see bad things in people, what does that mean about you? But lately, I don't know if it's my pregnancy or what, it's like it's like I have a feeling that I could read, it's something, it's like I could read them. And then something inside of me tells me, don't, be friends with this person, or watch out this, like, I have a gut instinct that I should not mess with them or be friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, it's the same thing with, I don't want to offend anybody, but it's the same thing with Moon Blanc. You understand? The people that I come around, I feel like I can't even sit, be around them, because I can read them. Like, it's a bad energy that I'm getting. If you just, like, sometimes if they're giving out free mask or free something in New York, and then I'm wearing Moon Blanc, I said, no, I'm all right, thank you, and then I just keep going. Is that something wrong with me? Or is this something that is developing in me? Like, what is that about?
Well, that's a question that only you can really answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I could give you a couple of elements. Now, in dealing with Euro-Christians or Caucasians, Lukodem, as some others call them, in dealing with them, you have the whole history. So your history in you, and it says, hey, watch out. And that's normal. It would be abnormal for any of us. It's what is abnormal is when we go blindly and bring ourselves to them. What is normal is that something inside say, hey, watch it now. Remember, these people spread measles to Africa. They destroyed a large population of people with measles. They destroyed, when they set up Liberia, they killed all the people that were on the coast, because the people did not want them to come. And so they sent all this disease gift and slaughtered the entire nations there. Which is why today, African Americans and native of Liberia are still, there's always a big thing between the two of them, because it was after slaughtering the people on the coast that the whites took the blacks and dropped them there. So now the two blacks are there, but even though there isn't much written about that, but that stuff is very much alive among people in Liberia. Okay, so it's normal. The thing is, what do you do from that? Do you react or do you act? That's where you come in. Okay, get something inside of you say, flags up. Okay, now how are you going to handle it? You're gonna run away? So no, yeah, I do need this, but this white person is giving it to me, so I'm gonna let my baby starve. Or are you gonna say, yeah, let me take it. I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna test it. I'm not gonna take it and put it in my baby's mouth. I will drink some of it first, see what's what. I will do this, I will do that, I will boil it. I don't know, but I will have ways of dealing with it if I decide to take it. Because I know there is a good reason my inside has stood up and say, hey, watch it. Okay? Now, the same is true with our own people. We all went to school where? To these people's schools. We went to church where? To these people's churches. We have what perception? These people's perceptions and behaviors. Watch them on TV all day long. So, if flags up, I still have to pay attention to my flag. And I still to make the right choices as to how I will handle it. If I don't have enough information, then I will not react on someone. I might decide to just back off quietly, gently, or whatever way I chose to. If I really feel, after analyzing myself, that I have a good reason, yes, everything is telling me blah, 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 then I have to take the decision that is appropriate. You see? But you have to do a questioning of why your flags are coming up. And you have to look at the reasons, some of the historical reasons, and some closer things. Sometimes it's just you watch a film last night that made you react to this guy this morning because he had a t-shirt that was very, you might not be aware of it. But the guy who did all the killing in that film last night had that same t-shirt that France is wearing today. So when you see France, you react. But if you can take the time, I remember understanding, I must have been about 14, 15. Came from school one day and my mother is furious at me. Yeah, everything I said, I don't know I did anything. Why is mom so angry? But she watched a lot of soap operas. And ultimately, I came to understand that some 15-year-old girl took the husband of somebody in the film. So when I got home as a 15-year-old girl, I got the fire. These things happen every day.
Well, let me say, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me say, this has been going on ever since I was a child. And now it's stronger. It's like, even though as a child, I would just let it pass and continue and give them the benefit of the doubt. But now my body, my hands, my feet won't let me go towards whatever is going on. It's
and
like
still you must question. You must reach your point and be clear as to why your body is giving you this message. Okay? And so you take an adult decision based on facts as you know them.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. Thank you, Lena. Thank you so much. All right, so we have a couple of more questions, but before we do that, I just want to make a few more announcements for stuff that we have coming up. Let's see. Of course, we have the May 8th celebration coming up, royal birthday celebration for the Queen and the Empress coming up. So make sure you are ready for that. I'll be setting up the Eventbrite this evening. And so you'll be able to register for this event. I'll send it out on email. Also, we have Bayyinah and Friends coming up Thursday. I posted the link for this in the chat room, so you can RSVP this Thursday at 1 p.m. for Bayyinah and Friends. And then Dr. Wade Nobles is coming to join us on Bayyinah and Friends as well. So that's going to be a great one. That's May 7th. That's right, Ma, right? May 7th, he's confirmed. All right, so we got that going on. This is the May 30th event that's going to take place in Florida that we were just talking about with Brother Khalid. So you could take a look at the information there. The tickets are available on Eventbrite. It's going to be in Fort Lauderdale. So take a screenshot of all of this if you can, because I know there's a lot of information on here. But that's May 30th. So we're sending all our positive energy down there to make sure that this event happens. So make sure you're ready for that. Also, this is an event coming up May 23rd. So that's going to be happening where Ma Bello is on a panel, virtual panel with a lot of other scholars. So this is going to be a good event. Afrocentricity International is putting this event on. So you could also add that to your calendar. And also, I have my mom is contributing as well. So she's doing a virtual cooking class on this Sunday, as a matter of fact. So that's going to be a lot of fun. She's making a lot of different foods that are going to be good for our health during this episode. I just actually posted the link to this class on in the chat room, so you could also RSVP. It's a free RSVP for that as well. And Ma Bello could attest to my mom's cooking.
Don't you speak for me, young man. I can speak for myself. Thank you very much. I can attest to how great my sister's cooking is. I enjoyed everything she prepared. And that turkey, boneless turkey, is something else you guys need to learn to do. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, my mom is a great chef. So, and she doesn't do things like this often. So definitely check her out. And again, thank you for everyone for your donations. That's how these episodes, that's how we were able to put on these sessions with Professor Bello. So thank you everyone that has donated thus far. All right, so we have our final few questions, and then we're going to close out for the day. So next question comes from Sarah Ciziwe. Sarah, you could go ahead, unmute and ask a question, please.
Greetings, Hans. Greetings, my Bello.
Greetings, daughter.
Hi, I had the honor of meeting you when you were here in Silver Spring, Maryland. And I purchased your book and you signed it for me and left me a wonderful message. And I was talking with Brother Franz briefly before leaving, and he mentioned that you had some knowledge of books as well as films that could be teaching tools for the Haitian Revolution. And I would like to know if you could share. There was really specifically a rare film that was mentioned that was filmed somewhere in Europe that I believe was probably the closest depiction or something. I'm not sure what language we use, but it was worth a watch. And at the time, Franz, you couldn't think of the name, but you suggested that I could ask my Bello, and I didn't get the opportunity on that day, so I would like to ask now. If you could share any resources of books or films as it relates to the Haitian Revolution.
How about you send me an email?
Okay, definitely.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you, Sarah, representing Silver Spring, Maryland. All right, let's see. Oh, that's it. No more hands. I thought I saw a few more hands, but that's it. All right, great. So that, right when I said that, someone raised their hand. I will take this very last question. All right, so last question comes from Marsha Bois. Marsha, you could go ahead. You snuck in right on time. So you can unmute and ask a question if you're still there. Marsha going once.
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, family. Thank you, Franz, Mom, Bello. Thank you so much. I find this so helpful, and it's connective, right? Because I'm here sitting with my mom, and we're talking about our history and or legacy within the culture and how I've experienced it growing up as a child in New York, and you know, the issues of being in the voodoo practice and also having other people try to tell you that you can't do this and you can't do that, or everything has to be in a little closet for you to do something. And it was always difficult for me. So as a child, I did not experience my evolution in voodoo as much. But growing up and becoming an adult and being able to do my own independent research, I started to bridge the gap. And especially after my grandmother passed away, we went to Haiti and they gave her such a beautiful libera. Is that the way it's called? Something like that.
Libera. Mm-hmm.
And so it really opened my eyes on certain things of our culture, and I'm grateful for that experience. I say all this to go into, as I was doing my research, I had purchased the Veve book, and I started reading and researching, and I found a Veve that I love, and it expresses me. Izon velekeke, which is a loi or a veve that's really not expressed in in our world very much. And I know that she was in the marketplace and would help the children in their transitioning through the middle passage. And I wanted to know if there was any more details that you could give me about Izon, because I feel that that is who is in my head.
Very interesting. Izon is discipline, measure, music, but mostly in Haiti, in Voodoo, is discipline. People are afraid to deal with Izon because she doesn't, you know, this business, 7 o'clock is 700, 0 minutes, 0 second. It's 7. It's not something else. She deals with, like when you go for initiation, she's the one who determines how much information you can handle. Because it's not like if we are 7 of us going through initiation together, we're each going to receive the same bucket of information. Each one of us will receive whatever we can contain depending on how well prepared we are for that moment. So Izon determines this, because in our system, if you don't have enough information, you will be a very iffy kind of mambo or ungang, someone who can't really do things the way it should be. And if you have too much information at a particular time, you receive too much information, then you could even go crazy.
Yes.
Because you are not prepared to handle everything that you're receiving. So she's the one who has the measuring cup and knows how much everyone is to, you know, each person should get. So it's a very powerful female figure in the Voodoo.
Okay.
And structuring, she does a lot. So
Okay.
important.
So given that she's so disciplined and sometimes I'm so scattered, is that something that I have to learn to become more disciplined in my life? Is that a calling, or is that just something that I have to understand by myself?
Well, you'll have to understand it, the depth of it. But if you are not disciplined and Izon is attracting you, that means you're attracted to discipline. So you want to bring discipline into your life.
Interesting. Thank you very much. I am looking to send donations, and also, you know, we're doing Chaka for May 1st. So
right, me too.
Yay. So I'm gonna try to incorporate something as fabulous. Is there a favorite meal of the lens that I could incorporate?
Well, you asked specifically for the queen, huh?
Yes.
Okay. The queen likes, you know, this is a very fancy woman. She has, you know, she sets her table with 4 or 5 plates, one into the other.
Okay.
4 forks, 3 or 4 knives, you know, 3 or 4 glasses, the red wine, the white wine, the champagne,
okay,
etc. So, you know,
okay.
les grands plats, les petits plats dans les grands plats. That's how she functions. And her favorite color is turquoise.
Okay. So I will make sure that her altar is placed just like you said, with a fancy dinner table, and I'll figure out what meal to make. Thank you so much. My mother appreciates this, and I love the bonding that it gives us to talk about who we are and how we can continue on our legacy in Voodoo.
You're very welcome, and thank you very, very much. And Mom, mérite pas mandi.
Mérite pas mandi.
All right, fantastic. All right, thank you, everyone. So I just want to share one more thing before we have Ma Bello close us out. There's a group out of Connecticut called the Haitian Collaborative. And in May in this country is usually considered as Haitian Heritage Month. So they put together a series of events to celebrate every day in May to celebrate our culture, right? So in fact, we're part of this calendar. where on May 8th, they're going to help us, with the celebration. And, we have some history courses. We have Creole 101s for people who want to learn about speaking Creole. We have authors, artists, musicians, all different types of people that's going to be featured every day in May. So it's going to be fun. So make sure you go to the website. I believe it's the Haitian Heritage.com or Blue Phoenix or Royal Sparkles. One of them will post the website in the chat room where you can get more information on this day, on this calendar in May. So you can screenshot this calendar real quickly so that you could get an idea of when the events are going to take place. All right, so, and then also, again, before we leave, of course, let me share the calendar for our Queen and our Empress. So donations are appreciated. PayPal is the best way to send your donations. You see the email right here to send to PayPal, your donations through PayPal for the May 8th celebration. And, you encourage everyone to either send a donation or come up with something you would like to contribute. You'll be able to share with everyone that's going to be a part of the celebration. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. Ma Bello is going to take us a tour throughout Fondation Félicité. So looking forward to that. And I believe that is it. So I'm going to hand it over to Ma so that you can close us out. This is the final session of Know Yourself. And it's been great. This 4 weeks went by very quickly. So thank you for all your knowledge. Thank you for all your wisdom. And, go ahead and give us some final words for this session.
Thank you very much, Franz, for having put in all the work, all the effort, and everything that had to be done for this to happen. Of course, when you have soldiers as sons, they just take care of business and then they call you and say, okay, Ma, be ready in 10 minutes. So that's, he does all the hard work. Me, he just asked me to be pretty and speak. That's our collaboration. That's how we work together. But I also want to say thank you to all those of you who have come in week after week for 4 weeks, with whom we have shared, or we have shared our fears, shared our hopes, shared knowledge. Be certain that I have learned as much as you have learned. I have learned from you as much as you might have learned from me. The most important thing is that we would come out of this 4-week session. We should come out closer to each other, ready to do greater things together on the basis of the divinity in us. Anytime you're afraid of someone else, it's because you are away from the divine in you. Even the most menacing person, the most threatening person that comes in front of you, if you get scared, that means you forgot the divine lives in you. But the minute you remember that, you could face up to whatever, and you will have the tools to deal with it. There is a threat that comes your way. It needs another threat to crush it. There is a threat that comes your way. It only needs a smile to crush it. Everything we have is a tool and is a weapon, depending on what you have to do at the moment. But more than anything, remember, trust the divine in you. You are never lacking. The entire universe lives in each one of us. There is never, see this whole fear, there's not going to be enough food for everybody in the world. There are too many people. These are sick people's thoughts. Do not entertain them. Our beautiful earth don't have a problem with how many people lives on it. And the whole structure of agriculture will always feed all its children, as long as we each know you are me and I am you. Om Hamsa Sohams Va. Go, great nation, accomplish what you will. See you on May 30th.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. That's it for Know Yourself, and you will know the universe and all its gods. We are going to, all the sessions are uploaded on YouTube, so you could go back and check out all of the different sessions. Thank you so much, Ma Bello. Everyone, you could unmute and give Laren, Queen Mother Bayyinah Bello, your thank yous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Merci
you.
so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Merci.
you, Queen Mother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Asante.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Merci pour cette belle énergie.
Jelly Jeff.
Thank you.
Medasi.
Yes, Madasi, you know I see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are a beautiful group. Thank you so very much.
Shukran, Lafi, Jelly Jeff. Honneur et respect.
Merci.
À tout le monde.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, everybody. So remember to register for Thursday. We'll be back on Thursday with Bayyinah and friends, and also May 8th. So we have more information to give you guys. We have more celebrations to have together. So this Tuesday is just the end of Tuesdays, but we have a lot more stuff to do, a lot more work to share with everyone. So everybody, thank you for logging on, and we'll definitely see you all very, very soon. All right, so be safe. We love you. Wash your hands. All right, Ma, I'll talk to you soon, okay? All right. Take care. All right, everybody.
This needs to be as accurate as possible, because what will happen is the builder will create a Google sheet where they will mark, hey, this looked out of order. The less of that we